Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time you may be watching this or listening this to on your whatever station you might listen to this on your podcast. I want to welcome you to another episode of Things That I Pray For, Additional Prayers. I'm your host Raymond. Just like always, the goal behind this podcast / YouTube channel is to help others understand that they're not alone, and also to help others unify every day with everyday prayer life. In this episode, the reasoning behind it is what defines an athlete. The title is Are You Really Ready? And the verses will be coming from Psalms 25, verse 1 through 8. We're defining words, as I like to call them, notes. Rest, refreshment, or refresh. Athlete, contestant, warrior, enlisted person, ready, eager, satisfied, or disappointed. Once again, like I said, the verses will be coming from Psalms 25, verse 1 through 8. Just like always, if you're listening to me or watching the channel, I recommend that you grab a copy of the word and read along. This is my thought process, my study process of a simple thing. I'm not here to change anything, even though I might stutter. I'm not here to add. I'm just going to give you, from my point of view, on a subject. Lord, thank you for this opportunity, Lord. I pray what I said and do here today, Lord, brings you honor and glory. Lord, thank you for the day thus far, Lord. I pray that you continue blessing each and every one of us, Lord. I pray what I say, Lord, it brings you one step closer to you, Lord. I pray wherever I do, brings you honor and glory, Lord. I pray I lead no one astray, Lord. I pray that what is done here today, Lord, it enhances everybody, Lord. I pray that it brings them closer to you like you have brought me closer to you, Lord. Thank you, Lord, for the ability, Lord. Thank you for the lives I've touched, Lord. Thank you for the individuals that touched my life, Lord. Thank you for your Son, Jesus Christ, that died on the cross for not just my sin, but the whole world's sins. Lord, I say all these things in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. Give you idea or back thought to this. Give you something to think about. Have you ever been a part of some sports team or been a part of some kind of activity, and your superior, be it a coach or a trainer, wants to give you a pep talk? Or have you been in a situation where you had to give yourself a pep talk? That was a thought process behind this. Often we are faced with difficulties, and we have to be reminded of where we're coming from or reasoning behind what we're doing. Just like all the rest of my podcasts and the channel, YouTube channel, if you're watching this is just motivation. I've taught, well, I don't like to say taught, but I was given a lesson to individuals at my church, and I mentioned to each and every one of them that I'm not a teacher. I'm more of a motivational speaker and someone that is just, like I said before, just sharing a simple thought. I like to think of myself as a student of the Bible, because if I was to say I was a teacher, in my eyes, I feel like I'm actually taking on bigger responsibility than I can actually handle. These are just coming from me and what I've studied. This is my formula to my podcast. Feel free to comment, share, but most of all, make sure to subscribe. I do on Facebook drop some reels, some little bit of motivation talking, a little bit of something to think about. If you don't already, feel free to try to find me on social media sites. To get into this one, this episode, like I said, rest. Rest is defined as a refreshing ease, something that is that can be absent of motion, or some people call it tranquility. Refreshment slash refresh is defined to provide new energy, replenishment or replenish, uh, or breathe new life into something. Athlete is defined as someone that is trained or gifted, or often referred as a competitor. Uh, contestant is a challenger, a combatant, or a rival. Warrior is summed up as a person who shows great courage or a champion. Enlisted person, and so we used to say in the military, a GI or a government issue is someone that's referred to as an infantry or a trainee. Ready is defined as something that is completely prepared, or someone or something that is immediately available. Eager is defined as restless, yearning, or something that may be known as something that's greedy, or someone that may be greedy. Um, satisfied is defined as something that's been fulfilled or someone that's been pleased. Disappointed or disappointment is known as a failure of one's hopes or simply as a letdown. Once again, the verses is coming from Psalms 25, verse 1 through 8, and it reads, Unto thee, O Lord, do I lift up my soul. O my God, I trust in thee. Let me not be ashamed. Let me not let not my enemies triumph over me. Verse 3 reads, let ye none that wait on thee be ashamed. Let them be ashamed which transgress without cause. Verse 4 reads, Show me thy ways, O Lord, teach me thy paths. Lead me thy truth and teach me, for thou art the God of my salvation. On thee do I wait all the day. Remember, O Lord, thy tender mercies and thy loving kindness, for they are been ever of old. Verse 7 reads, Remember not the sins of my youth, nor my transgressions. According to thy mercy, remember thou me for thy goodness' sake, O Lord. Verse 8 reads, Good and upright is the Lord, therefore will he teach sinners in the way. Like I said, to remember back to the illustration or point backstory I was trying to give you about having a pep talk or giving yourself a pep talk. To me, these verses is an individual is seeking guidance and understanding their place all at the same time. To try to break these verses down, verse 1 it says, Unto thee, O Lord, do I lift up my soul. And it leads back to the saying that you're going to meet your maker. And this individual, David, because this is a Psalm of David, is saying that he's willing to give up the inner part. He's willing to give up from what's truly inside of him. To revert back to the title once again of this episode is "Are You Really Ready?" And from just the opening verse, yes, David is ready. He is willing to, like I said, it says, "Do I lift up my soul?" So apparently David is ready to do what's necessary. Verse 2 reads, "Oh my God, I trust in thee. Let me not be ashamed. Let not my enemies triumph over me." Like I said before, it seems like he understands, he's looking for encouragement and motivation, but understanding where he stands. This leads behind the reasoning. Once again, the reasoning is what defines an athlete. In this sense that he know without God or without relying on who he needs to rely on. He says, "I trust in thee." Without relying on God, he know he cannot win. He know he cannot go on further. That's what he says. It says, "Let me not be ashamed." He's not embarrassed, or no one's gonna hold him back. It says, "Let not my enemies triumph over me." He's knowing he's going to be facing difficult times, and this, like I said before, is like a pep talk. Not for he's asking for a pep talk. He's encouraging himself as well. Verse 4 says, "Show me thy ways, O Lord, teach me thy path." You can use this as an illustration of like a playbook, or like a coach would have like a strategies, and that's, to me, that's what it is, in this sense that he's want to invest more, he want to know more, he want to know how to handle whatever situation he may be facing. Verse 5, it says, "Lead me in thy truth and teach me, for thou art the God of my salvation." So that's, once again, like I said before, he knows where he is, where he lands, know where his role is. And it says, on thee do I wait all day. So he's understanding that it is not up to him. He's understanding he's never going to grow or get farther or accomplish what he needs to go through without the Lord. So he's saying that he, in a sense, that he has patience. I had to sit down with my preacher one day, and I told him, I was like, most people always look at an athlete and say, "Oh man, they're such a great athlete. Oh, they're such a wonderful person. Look at them as a role model." I don't look at the athlete or whatever the individual that you see in the spotlight. I try to look at the person behind the scenes. I don't respect necessary or disrespect necessary the individual in the spotlight, but I more respect the individual behind the scenes, because I know for every person that gets to a plateau in certain status of certain individuals' eyes, it's someone that got him there. And that's what this individual is doing. This individual says simply as, "For thou art the God of my salvation." He knows who's in the background. He knows, like when I have prayed before, that thanks for the hedge of protection. He knows that if it wasn't for God, he wouldn't have get this far, and he knows if it wasn't for God that he wouldn't get any farther. God fights your battles before you get there, and he continues to keep them off you as you're going through it, and he will go lead you to a better place after it. Like I was saying, when I had the conversation with my preacher, I told my preacher, I was like, "Thank you, for all the him, preaching and teaching that. I know it comes from God to him, but it's coming from, and then it's coming to me." And I told the preacher, "Thanks for being in my corner. Thanks for him being in my background. Thanks for him being my trainer." You know what I'm saying? Of course, thank God above, but as him being obedient to God and me knowing where I stand. He gives me the pep talks. I'm giving him thanks, and which he gives thanks, and I give thanks above as well. They go into verse 6. It says, "Remember, O Lord, thy tender mercy and thy loving kindness, for thy have been ever old of old." He's the Lord. Like I was saying before, he a hedge of protection where he's behind you, he's in front of you, he's always around you, and he's saying about the tender mercy and loving kindness, and you got to understand that God always going to love you. God always going to show mercy towards you, but you got to be grateful for it. You must never forget where it comes from, you know. And he's saying that they have been ever of old. Like he know his past. Lord was showed tender mercy and kindness back there, and he's praying and having a pep talk, and he's having a relationship and praying that it will be in front of him in the future, and also in his present form where he's at now. They go into verse number 7. It says, "Remember not the sins of my youth, nor my transgressions." And it was, once again, this is like he is remembering who he is now, but he's not forgetting who he was in the past. But he's saying to the Lord above, he's like, I can't forget who I am, and I know you don't forget who I am, but don't judge me for what I came through, but understand that I'm trying to be better. This is him giving a pep talk to himself. He's like, remember not my sins of my youth, nor my transgression. This is him being more mature. If you're a fan of mine, or if you haven't, try to find the actual podcast about my very first podcast I did on my favorite Bible verse. And my favorite Bible verse is talking about putting away childish things, and that's what he's doing. He's being more mature. He's growing up, and that's why I say I'm a student of the Bible, because I'm always learning. We always should be learning. We always should be trying to be more mature in the situations. We should never always keep approaching the same situation, expecting different results. That is actually the definition of insanity, or being insane. The definition of that is constantly doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. You're not going to get different results unless you change the method of how you handle the situation. And that's what David is doing in these verses. He's handling the situations different. He know he was a sinner in his youth. He know he had transgressions in his youth. But it goes on to say, to thy mercy remember thou me for thou goodness sake, O Lord. He's saying, yes, he's been through some things. He's not 100%, but through your mercy, Lord, please forgive me. And this is what we should always do. That's why this is called things that I pray for. I pray for several things all the time, and this is one of the things I even pray for myself. I pray that I actually never go back. As the preacher says, kill that old man daily. And, I laid the stake down, in the biblical term, I laid something down years ago, and I said, Lord, if I will continue to lay that down, put that stake down, and leave there and not pick it back up, because if you continue blessing me to go forward, I can't go back to being that. That's me killing that old man daily. I have to kill that old man and not go down that old path. But through his mercies, like he said in verse 7, to thy mercy remember me for thy goodness sake. Lord, remember from when as long as I'm doing good, Lord, please forgive me. He's asking, he's begging, he's praying, he's, Lord, forgive me for what I've done in the past, but Lord, please love on me from what I do in the future, what I'm doing now. it's not that you're going to forget the past. It's not that I can forget the past. That my past makes me to my present, but it's not my future. You know, for anybody that knows me personally, they know that they might see me as two different people. It's not that I'm two different people. It's that that's the old me that I'm killing. That's the old me that was in the past, and I'm trying to build a better future. I'm in the present here, and I'm trying to go to better places. It's not that I'm think I'm better or pretend to be better. I know I'm not. I had a conversation or left a message with an individual today. Matter of fact, and I told him, I said, you know my past. I'm not pushing nothing on you. I'm just trying to help you look at something different. I'm just trying to help you be somebody different. And that's why I do this. As I said before, as a motivation and say it as a not just motivation for me, but motivation for you, because we can help each other in situations if we both got understanding. And this with this, like I said before, with the pep talk, this to me is not necessarily a pep talk, and he's like asking forgiveness, but he's also pepping himself up as well. Go into verse number 8. It said, "Good and upright is the Lord; therefore will He teach sinners in the way." And that goes in what I was just saying. You know, good God above. That's what you hear me say it often. You know, thanks to the good Lord above. You might hear me say that as well, because He is good up. That's what that's what I said it before and I said it again. That's what it means to be Christian, is to be Christ-like. You're never going to be perfect, but you're going to strive to do better. Like I always try to teach my kids. That there's always a point where you can walk away. In the same sense, there's always a point where you can try to do better. You should always strive to be better. Not saying that you be better than individuals around you, but to handle a situation better. It's real easy. Like I made a podcast about that. I think it was entitled "I Have More to Say Than Just Hi." But in that podcast, I think it was that when I mentioned that it's real easy to look at stuff the negative way. It might be that one that's called Unmasked or Misguided, which feel free to look back on some old videos and old podcasts. But anyway, to stick on the topic, it's very easy to look at situations from the negative point of view. Like I made an illustration in that podcast, it was a YouTube video, where it was that when someone learns something new, most of the time they learn the negative first. And then they later learn the better way of handling it, the correct way, or the righteous way. And unfortunately, it's like that. But that's being human. That's being fleshly. That's the part about being imperfect. That's the part about being human. The error part. To do the mistakes. But not just sticking with the mistakes. And I heard someone say it. I don't want to misquote it, but it fell on the lines of saying, in order to know how it feels to be a victor, you must know how it feels to be a loser. And that's true. In order for you to grow, you must understand how it feels to be held back. But with the sense of this whole episode of this podcast, like I said, it leads back to the title. It said, "Are you really ready? Are you really ready to face the situations that you're going to face? That you might need to pep talk yourself. You might need to ask for help." Which I encourage it on anything. That's what I try to do in my own personal life. I try to go out and seek guidance before being misguided, if that makes sense. I try to pray on every situation, just like when you hear me pray on this podcast, or you hear me pray or see me pray on this YouTube, that I pray what I say and do brings me one step closer. I pray what I say and do brings honor and glory. That's just like the individual David in verse number 8, it says, good and upright is the Lord, therefore will he teach sinners in the way. God is forever willing to teach us. The question is, are we forever willing to learn? Unfortunately, we're not. Most of the time, I can speak in some situations myself. We're stubborn. We're that mule. We want to go our way, and that leads into a whole other conversation of being having, as we say at church, a woodshed experience, or being corrected spiritually, or being corrected in your heart, in your soul, and sometimes we still don't listen, and then you fall into the category of having scars on your soul, or scars not or on your outer appearance. And not to say that you are not going to make through life without scars, but you'll make it through life with less scars and less damage if you learn to approach situations different. And that's why I try to do these videos. That's why I try to do this YouTube channel, this podcast, my motivational videos. Like I said, try to find me, try to search me up. Type my name in, try to search it up. I highly recommend that you find me on social media. I try to motivate others because there's times I need motivated. That's why I always tell people, like, subscribe, comment. Your comments, a thumbs up or something, that means a lot. It truly does. I know it seemed kind of scattered for this episode, but I want to thank each and every individual that watches these videos or listens to the podcast. Truly, from the bottom of my heart, from my house to yours. Thank you.